Hey guys, in this video we are going to be talking about the percent proportion, and we basically have been spending this entire time talking about proportions. And a proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal to each other. And in a proportion, the cross products are equal. So 1 times 4 is equal to 2 times 2. We're specifically today going to be talking about a special proportion called the percent proportion, which states that a part over a whole is equal to a percentage out of 100. A part over the whole amount is basically the same as the percent number out of 100, where 100 represents like the total percentage. Some people also call this is over of is equal to percent over 100, because sometimes these questions say the words is and of in them, okay? I like to talk about parts and wholes because as we talk about the story problems, you want to know which number is the part and which number is the whole, or you could say total if you don't like the word whole, so part over total. So let's take a look at what we mean by this. And then you'll do cross products and solve for x. So let's take a look at what we mean. 18 is what percent of 40? So it looks like 18 is a part and 40 is that total. And we are looking, it's not a question mark, sorry about that. We are looking for the percentage. So 18 out of 40 equals what out of 100? Because it's what percent. So 18 out of 40 equals what out of 100? Now let's do cross products and solve for x. So 40x is equal to 1800. Divide by 40 on both sides to get that x is 45. Now it does say what percent, so the answer is 45%. So if you have 18 people show up out of 40 people that you invited, 45% showed up. In this next example, it says, what is 30% of 15? So I know my percentage is 30%, so that's 30 out of 100, and that's equal to what part over what whole? So let's see. What is 30% of 15? 15 of 15 must be my total because I'm looking for what 30% is. So I'm looking for that part that represents 30%. With my total being 15. So what out of 15, what out of 15 is the same as 30 out of 100. So x out of 15 is the same as 30 out of 100. We could do our cross products here. 100x is equal to, let's multiply 450. Divide by 100 on both sides to get 4.5. So 4.5 is 30% of 15, which means that if you scored a 30% and there were 15 questions worth 1 point each, you only got 4.5 right out of 15. So I want you to try 5, 7, and 9. So pause the video and try 5, 7, and 9. Set up your percent proportion. Use your calculator to do the work with the cross products showing your steps. And box your final answer, and then when you unpause the video, you can check your answers to see if you got it correct. So go ahead and try that now. All right, so I have set up the percent proportions here for each of these problems. For example, in number 5, 28 is 4% of what number? So 28 is the 4 part. What's the whole? What's the 100%? What's the total? Do cross products to find that x is 700. In number 7, find 28.5% of 200. So we're looking for the 28.5. We know the total is 200, so the whole is 200, for a final answer of 57. And for number 9, we've got 7.5% of what number is 21. So 7.5 of what number is 21? So 7.5 is 21. What's the total? 7.5% of what? Of what total? Okay, and that total is 280. So I'd like to move us to a couple application problems, just reminding you that it is part over whole is the percent over 100. So using that, let's go ahead and take a look at number 13 and see if we can determine who's the part and who's the whole. A book collector has 425 books, 56% of which were published prior to 1900. How many books were published prior to 1900? So we're going to let X equal the number of books published prior to 1900. And how many total books? So X is part of his total collection. His total collection is 425. So there's his total collection. And this part, this number of books that were published prior to 1900, that's 56 out of 100%. So 100% of this book collector's books is 425. That's his total collection. 56% of it, that part, is how many books? So now that we've set up the cross products, now that we've set up the proportion, now we could set up the cross products and solve for X. So 100X is equal to, let's multiply, 23,800, divide on both sides by 100 to get 238 books. So how many books were published prior to 1900? 238 of the 425. Of the 425 books. So let's check 15 out. Bethany uses 8% of her weekly paycheck to pay for gas. She spent $34.12 on gas this week, so 8% pays for gas. How much was her paycheck? So we have 8 out of 100 for our percentage. Okay, and what is this 8 represent? That represents how much she pays for gas, and this is her total paycheck. So we don't know how much her total paycheck was, but we know she spent $34.12 on gas. So once we start labeling things, we see that this comes out a little bit easier. So if we do cross products and solve for X, so go ahead and do the cross products and solve for X on your own, use your calculator, and you should get a final answer of $426.50. All right, last one. So I think hopefully you're getting the hang of the word problems right now. So on the high school football team, 62.5% of the players are juniors and seniors. So they're only juniors and seniors, which means there's a certain percentage of them that are freshmen and sophomores. If there are 11 juniors and 19 seniors on the team, find the total number of players. So let's call X the total number of players. Whoa, let me fix that. We put totals on the bottom. X is the total number of players, which is represented by 100%. And then they told us that 62.5% is juniors and seniors, and it looks like we've got 30 juniors and seniors, because 11 plus 19 is 30. So 30 juniors and seniors out of the total is represented by 62.5%. So we can set up our cross products. Hopefully that was clear there. If you have any questions, just mark it up. Set up our cross products and solve for X to get 48 players. Keeping in mind the part over the whole or the part over the total, either or, whichever word you like best, is the percentage over 100. Your 100 is your total in percent world. So this is in number world and this is in percent world. And your numerator here is that part represented as a percent. So go ahead and try number 18. Pause the video, set it up, try number 18, and then when you unpause, I'll give you the answer. All right, so I've set up, Jenna found that 15% of the Skittles in the bag were purple, so I called X the number of purple Skittles. And she's got a total of 60 Skittles in the bag. So I did 15 out of 100 is X over 60. That gave me 9 purple Skittles. But the question asked for how many were not purple. So if 9 are purple, then 51 are not purple. We also could have known that if 15% were purple, then 100 minus 15% are not purple, because 100% is everything, is total, okay? So if 15% are purple, then 85% are not purple. If you went that way, you would have set up the proportion 85 over 100 equals x over 60, and you would have gotten the answer of 51 right away, directly, as opposed to finding out the purple and then subtracting. So either of these gets you the same answer because they mean the same thing. Again, if 15% are purple, then 85% are not purple. Thanks for watching the percent proportion.